All right, everyone, welcome. And welcome everybody to the open discussion and various topics, class number 111. Apologize for the late start. We'll go ahead and begin and open up today's session with reciting the prayer for spiritual workers. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. Okay. Everybody, welcome again to another open discussion and various topics, class 111. As per usual, feel free to post any questions or comments you may have in the chat. Or if you are joining us via Zoom, you can also use the raised hand feature to ask your questions audibly. Today we will be finishing up, or at least making significant progress through the workshop presentation on mudra, yoga, and prana manipulation that we started last time. We'll do that in the second half of today's open discussion. So to start off, do we have any questions or comments? Do have a couple of questions that were emailed in. Before I get to those, I just want to see if anyone else has questions to start.
Hello, Dwayne.
Anyway,
We had questions emailed. I didn't see any.
yes, Jack had sent a couple of questions in,
Okay.
I think yesterday. Okay, so if there are no questions, let me read the ones that were emailed to us. So these questions are regarding practice, both mantra, pranayama, and hatha yogas. Okay. First question is, if we sit in Padmasana and it gets more and more painful, are we burning up negative karma even without doing any other exercises?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you just clearly.
Yeah. It is said that Padmasana or Siddhasana is designed to restrict the flow of blood in the body and also to immobilize the legs. And by doing that, you force a heightened consciousness to a certain degree. And when you restrict yourself or put any type of limitations on yourself and sacrifice your time to do something positive, you begin to burn up negative karma. So yes, it does, but just don't sit there. I mean, there's exercises, there's mantra, there's prayer that you can do while you sit there. You should send energy out to the world. Just don't sit there for your own personal gains, unless your means to the personal gains is to serve the world. And even then, you should occasionally send out a prayer or energy or healing to other people other than yourself. Hope that answers your question.
Indian version, I noticed that you retracted your question. Did you not want us to answer that question? Or did you want to ask something else? Okay, the next question in the email says, I've recently had a child and was wondering about teaching them practices. Obviously, I wouldn't force them into it and leave it entirely up to them, but probably they would want to copy what their father does. At what age can you start to do pranayama?
I can only speak from my personal experience. My parents taught me pranayama at a very early age, maybe around 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old. And they introduced it to us simply by waking up in the morning, facing the east, and stopping up one side of the nose and breathing in rhythmically, or exhaling and inhaling through one nostril and the other nostril. And we made a ritual of doing that, especially during the summer. We did it in the morning and in the evening. It was a family practice where everyone came out and faced the east and did that. So then after that, my father introduced us into the science of breath. At least by 5 or 6 years old, we understood the basic practices of pranayama. So you can start pretty early with the child, and it helps the child because it helps them to regulate their breath, helps them to clear their mind. It helps them to concentrate. So the earlier you introduce to your child, the better off your child is.
The next question, what about the law of mantra when it comes to teaching a child? Should I avoid doing it in front of them until they have heard and understood Dr. King's tape?
I was introduced to the mantra at a very early age as well. My parents introduced me to mantra around the same age, I guess around 3 or 4 years old. We did it in the 12 blessings, and we were initiated into it at an early age. So it's up to you how you want to do it, but it's all helpful to do that. And I understood that I couldn't give the mantra to someone else at a very early age. So I think children do understand that. So once you give them a rule. So I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. And it was introduced to me as sacred names of God that you only say to yourself, or say around people who already been initiated into it. So and I understood that there was a power behind these sacred names of God, or sacred sounds of God. So it's nothing wrong with teaching a child that, having a child initiate, because they will understand. You just got to break it down to them to the level where they can comprehend.
And to follow up with that, I do believe in the mantra initiation recording by that Dr. George King gave, he made allowance for immediate family members.
Yes, he did.
And the last question he has here is, do you have any other advice in this regard? I guess he's referring to raising and rearing children in the practices.
I feel that you should try to teach them, but like he said earlier, do not force. Do not inundate them with it. You know, that was my method, because I wanted them to gradually come into it. My whole childhood, the only thing I remember is the teachings, because my father and my mother, it was overwhelming. was like being almost at a monastery. So that was their life. And I think that's good for some people, but not good for others. I think that the child should grow into it, and the child shouldn't be forced into it, but slowly guide them into the knowledge and understanding so that they can make their choice. And if it's for them in this lifetime, then they will make the choice. So, but I don't think we should force feed them the information, because some people will rebel regardless of what you say, do, or whatever to them.
All right, and Jack, there is a lecture by Dr. George King that specifically answers this question. And the lecture is titled Spiritual Education for Your Children. It's also another, I don't know if it's this lecture or another lecture where he talks about the importance of including your children in the commemorations. I think it's this lecture. But you can pick this up on the Society website, download or CD. And there's a lot of good information that answers, I believe, a lot of your questions and more in regards to rearing children in the practices. Are there any other questions or comments? Again, username Indian version. You have retracted a message earlier. Do you no longer wish for us to answer that question? Or did you have another question? All right. Well, if there's no other questions, to And so last open discussion, we started taking a look at one of the workshop IMKC workshop presentations, this one particularly on mudra yoga, or the prana manipulation through the use of mystic and signs. Last time we covered, I believe, the first 25, 26 slides. We had looked at mudra yoga, methods of prana manipulation, basically the introduction, opening of the presentation. We looked at the 5 groups of mudra yoga. We looked at the hand association with the chakras and the 5 pranas. We looked at the keys to mudra yoga, and we looked at the triggering mechanisms for mudra yoga techniques. And I believe today, depending on how much discussion is generated, I think we'll finish up looking at some of the, briefly, some of the hand techniques in mudra yoga, and analysis of Siddhasana mudra, which we had a question about earlier, and the 5 major pranas within the body, and the dominating pranas within the major chakra system. But even though we're going through this presentation, do feel free to pose any questions or comments you have. But any subject matter doesn't necessarily have to pertain to the material we're covering today. And we'll answer those for you. This particular presentation is not available in the download folder, in the shared folder. For this presentation will be given at a later time when we get back to hosting workshops and in-person events. So this is just a preview of one of the many workshops that we have planned. When we do host the workshops, the seminars, we'll announce it way ahead of time to give everybody an opportunity to make plans and to come out probably to Miami and attend, study, and practice with all of us in person. And so before I can begin, are there any questions, comments? Okay, so brief hand techniques presentation. Brief mudra hand techniques. First, we'll look at the Adhi mudra. This mudra is called Adhi mudra, or the mudra that triggers the Kundalini power. This mudra also provides strength and stability to the skeletal system. You can stand or sit while doing this mudra. It is used in the pranayama practice when visualizing the rays of Kundalini. And by the way, I mentioned this last time, but I'm also going to mention it again here. This presentation does not constitute an initiation into mudra yoga. Mudras follow the same law as mantra. So you should only accept mudras that are given to you by a master through initiation. You cannot give out mudras to those who have not been initiated into it. This presentation is not initiation. We're just going over a couple of the most commonly used mudras and to help you, to give you some keys to help you in your pranayama and yoga practice. Next, we have the Abhaya mudra. This mudra is called Abhaya Mudra, or the mudra that radiates a huge amount of cosmic energies on several planes of existence when used properly. This mudra creates a free flow of pranas through the chakras of the hands, which is connected to at least 5 chakras along the spinal column through the subtle lines of force called the nadis. Then next we have the Jnana Mudra. This mudra is called Jnana Mudra and is known by many other names such as Gyan Mudra, Om Mudra, and many others. It is used to help calm the mental auric bodies, to calm down the mental auric bodies and center the mind. This mudra is used in various development practices to assist the student in gaining control over its basic faculties through concentration techniques. It seals the outer layers of mental auric fields, allowing the student to develop the ability to channel his or her thoughts down a single or one direction. This mudra is used in dynamic forms of mantra chanting. All right, so those of you who regularly practice the 12 blessings, you'll recognize all 3 of these mudras. These are mudras that we use regularly, not only the 12 blessings, but in healing, absentee healing, and so on. So now we're giving you a little bit of the science behind, really the science behind the genius of the 12 blessings, those practiced in the prayer power, and the master who created and gave those systems, those new yogas to humanity. But again, there's a lot, this is just a brief examination of these mudras. There's a lot more behind each hand sign and the use. So if you do want more information on the mudras, you can look back at previous classes, particularly our series on Raja Yoga, our series on prayers, series on healing, our series on the manipulation of subtle energies, and also I think our practices series, which may or may not still be available. Send me an email if you're not able to access those. Some additional mudras, the Shunya Mudra, Shunya Mudra. The Shunya Mudra is the sealing and redirection of Tejas power. The middle finger is the longest finger, and it represents the fire element and is connected to the solar plexus chakra, the central location of all the pranas. The main flow of prana here is samana. Next, we have the Vayu Mudra. The Vayu Mudra, most books get this wrong, or get wrong the assignment of the elements to the fingers. But this particular finger holds the elemental power of air and is connected to the heart chakra via the nadis. The thumb represents the gross element of earth and the pranic flow of apana. This mudra assists with the inhalation and exhalation and the distribution of prana and apana energies. The number 6, Prana Mudra. This mudra is called the Prana Mudra. The 2 fingers held together with the thumb in this drawing represents ether, air, and earth. And that is the ring finger representing air, the little finger or pinky representing ether, and the thumb representing earth. The three make a pull on prana. Ether is the subtle aspect of prana. Air is the median aspect of prana, and earth is the gross solid physical aspect of prana. This mudra gives control over the prana within the body. And again, if you'll attentive members of the Aether Society, you'll recognize all of these mudras, particularly the prana mudra. And also, if you go back and watch videos of the Master Dr. George King on the mountain leading prayer power services, or even in the temple leading prayer power services, you'll see him switch through a variety of mudras as he is collecting, manipulating, and projecting energy, collecting energy from the mantra team, manipulating, configuring the energy, and then pushing, project that energy into the battery. Next, we have the Varun Mudra, which facilitates hydration and muscle flexibility. For this one, you would touch the tip of the little finger with the thumb and stretch the other three fingers. Number 8, you have the Adhi Mudra again, which provides strength and stability to the entire skeletal system. With, let's see, this hands in hand involving the thumb, resting the knees on the hands. So what he's describing here is the four fingers are wrapped around the thumb, and then the hands are rested on the knees. And here again is the Prana Mudra, which facilitates the expansion of the lungs and entire respiratory system. The thumb with the ring finger and the little finger, the thumb is touching and connecting with the ring and the little finger, and then you tighten the middle and index fingers. So you extend and tighten the ring, the pointer, or index and middle finger. The next we have the Pushan Mudra. The Pushan Mudra stimulates the digestive fire and completes the assimilation of nutrients. Right hand thumb touches the middle finger and index finger, and void are stretched. The left hand touches the middle and ring finger, index finger, the top, in the left hand, the thumb touches the middle finger and ring finger. Index finger, pinky become stretched. Next is the Kapot Mudra. This mudra generates a feeling of well-being and opens the heart on an emotional level. You join your palms, then open a space between them as the breast of a dove. Next, you have the Hakini Mudra, which facilitates an equilibrium state of the pituitary gland, which in turn regulates the entire endocrine system. You join the tips of all fingers. Next, we have the Uttar Bodhi Mudra. This mudra activates the thymus gland and increases self-esteem, promoting a healthy immune system. You interlace the fingers and stretch out the index and thumb. The index finger points up, and the thumb points down, putting them in the sternum. Next, you have the Manipura Chakra Matangi Mudra. And this is used to energize the solar plexus and facilitates a sense of self-esteem. You interlace all the fingers and you stretch out and attach the middle fingers in front of the solar plexus. Next, we have the Apana Mudra. It stimulates and facilitates the completion of the digestion process, balancing the deletion. The two hands, both the hands, the thumb touches the middle and ring fingers. The Mahasi Mudra is used to eliminate tension and balances the movement of the head. The two hands, the fingers touches the palm, and the index and middle fingers touch. The little finger is extended or straight. Next, we have the Yoni Mudra. This mudra balances the female reproductive system. You interlace your fingers in and stretch the indicators or index for front and thumbs. Hands, 4 fingers below the navels. So you stretch out the index forward and the thumb backwards. That's the image. And then you put the 4 fingers below the navel, so the hands below the navel. Next is the Brahma Mudra. It helps with obesity and it helps accelerate the metabolism, stimulating the digestion of fats, reducing excess fat. This is with the hands clasped in hand, revolve around the thumb, opposite the solar plexus, thumbs up. Next, I have the Chinmaya Mudra. This is used for anxiety, and it calms the mind and stabilizes the emotions. It says so with the hands, you touch the index finger and the thumb, or the pointer and the thumb, to form a circle. And you rest their hands on the knees. Breland, no, these won't be put up on the Google Drive. This presentation will be up on the Google Drive. This is just a preview of a Mudra Yoga workshop that we have, which will be given at a later date. And at that point, then we'll make this available for everyone who attends. Next, we have the Anahata Chakra. Anahata Chakra Mudra. It opens the heart and subtly decreases the load of stress on the heart and creates physical expansion of the rib cage. You join the wrists and thumbs and little fingers and open up the other fingers. Next, we have the Garuda Mudra, which works on the Vishuddha chakra. And it expands the power of voice and intuition, making the spiritual journey. You take the right palm at the chest, the left behind, and clasp your thumbs and fingers open like the wings of a bird. Next mudra is for the Ajna chakra and Sahasrara chakra, Mandala. This mudra facilitates integration experience with the whole universe. You lay the four fingers of the right hand on the left hand, and you join the thumbs in a circle. Next, you have the Svadhisthana Chakra Mudra. This is for nourishing the area of the second chakra and facilitates a sense of well-being. You put the right hand on the lower abdomen and the left hand with palm up, receiving the healing energy of the universe. Next, you have the Paschim Mudra. This relieves chronic tension of the muscles of the lower back, reducing pressure on the discs and the nerves. In the right hand, the thumb touches the tip of the middle finger, and the little index and middle remain stretched. On the left hand, the thumb presses the nail indicator, forming a circle. Okay, so let me read that again. So on the right hand, the thumb touches the tip of the middle finger and the little finger. And then you have the thumb, middle, I don't know what a minimum means. It's in the index finger. Stretch. Okay, so it's the thumb, the pinky, and the middle. The thumb touches the tips of those, and then the pointer and the ring finger are extended. And then for the left hand, it is the thumb presses against the nail of the pointer finger, forming a circle. Okay. The next, the Muladhara Chakra Mudra facilitates a sense of connection to the earth and provides security. For both hands, the index and middle finger are stretched out like antennae touching the ground, the other fingers naturally folded with the thumb on top. Then next we have the Yoni Mudra technique, also known as the Shanmukhi Mudra. The eyes, ears, nose, and mouth are closed using the fingers of the hands. The two thumbs close to the ears, close the ears. The index finger closes the eyelids. The two middle fingers close the nostrils, not completely. The two Ring fingers close the upper lip, using the lower lip to close, using the little fingers to close the lower lip. Then while holding this mudra position, stare upwards above the eyebrows and focus on the light that occurs and locate the point of light that seems to appear. Make an effort to realize this, for it is the point of consciousness, the bindu or spiritual germ of your existence. The I Ching says, if you practice this correctly, you will advance 1,000 years each time. Okay, so now we will look at the brief analysis of the Siddhasana Mudra. See if there are any questions or comments before I move into that part. Okay. So it's a Siddhasana or Mudra, Siddhasana or Lotus pose. In this pose, the spine is kept straight to allow a free flow of prana to be pushed up the spine from the pressure being placed on the lower regions. The Lotus Mudra pushes the lower energies from the legs and pelvic areas up to the higher chakras and seals the flow of prana from flowing back to the lower regions below to the major chakras along the spine. With the arms positioned straight down, it allows a free flow of energies to travel through the chakras and exit the chakras along the spinal column. So next we'll look at the hand mudras. Figure 1 is showing the Chitta Mudra. Is a psychic gesture of consciousness. And in that one, it's similar to the mudra that is used in mantra japa, but the difference is the pointer finger is at, I guess you can say, the second joint of the thumb, knuckle joint of the thumb. The other 3 fingers are extended. And then figure 2 is the Gayana Mudra, psychic gesture, the psychic gesture of consciousness. And that one, the tips of the thumb and pointer are connected. The 3 fingers are extended. And these are placed on the legs and the knees, seen in the illustration, while one is seated in Siddhasana. The hand sign used here is a Chitta mind mudra called a psychic gesture of consciousness. There are 2 ways of performing this mudra. The first method shown in the picture above and in figure 1 shows the thumb over the first finger with it folded under the thumb. This expresses the supreme power of the energies radiating through the thumb as the Muladhara chakra retains the knowledge and a link with all the chakras along the spine up unto the Christ Ajna chakra. It passes through the Christ chakra in order to manifest its presence as the root or foundation of the chakras. Or is that it passes through the Muladhara chakra? Sorry. The figure 2 image of the mudra taps into or expresses the lower frequency of energies. Placing the hand on the knee as shown in the picture you connect with the nadis that are traveling up towards the head region, also further increasing the push or pressure of energies upwards. I'm sorry. The physical body, the astral bodies, etheric bodies, and the streams of multiple energy patterns, and the layers of mental bodies that mold and shape the subtle and gross energies that make up all the before mentioned bodies, which act as the soul's vehicle of expression, all fit within the auric body. All these vehicles of expressions fit tightly within the auric envelope of the soul, which gives them meaning, purpose, and divine karmic direction. So here again, on the left-hand side, we have the key to hand mudra positions. The fingers of the hand are listed along with their associated cosmic elements, the Mahabhutas, pranas, and associated chakras. We've looked at this before, we can go over it again. For the thumb, its cosmic element is etheric solids. Its Mahabhuta is Prithivi, its major prana is Apana, and the associated chakra is the base of the spine and Muladhara chakra. For the index finger, the pointer finger, we have etheric liquids is the associated cosmic element. Apas, the Mahabhutas. Vayana is this major prana, and the sex chakra is the associated chakra. Middle finger have etheric fire, this cosmic element, its bhutas, its tijas, its prana is samana, and associated chakra is the solar plexus. Then we have the ring finger. Its cosmic element is etheric air. Its bhuta is vayu. Its prana is prana, and its associated chakra is the heart chakra. Finally, the little finger, its associated cosmic element is etheric sound, space. Its bhutas is akasha. Its major prana is udana, and it is associated with the throat chakra. The auric body is linked to the cosmos, receiving all levels of creative power of the universe, the great Shakti. The four great principles of Shakti, the cosmic elements, the Sakti Mahabhutas, the principles of Shakti and Mahabhutas, are the background substance of the universe and is delivered to us mainly through Chitta, mind, Prana, all power, Amanda, love or preservation energy, and Akasa, etheric sound, the carrying agent for all energies, subtle and gross. Mudra techniques give us the correct procedures on how to tap into these great subtle energies which are flowing on the sattvic level of mind to allow us to karmically manifest these on a level that can help in so many ways to better our lives and the people around us and the world. Okay, so next we'll look at the modifications of Shakti. Excuse me for 1 minute. Okay, modifications of Shakti. I don't think I can zoom this in. Oh. Oh, there we go. Modifications of Shakti. So at the Shiva level, we have positive and negative, and positive and negative, which is different, and infinite. This is Shiva. It is the pure state of endless potential that all manifestation arises from. From Shiva comes the Vak, the initial release of nada, the cosmic creative sonic vibration. And from that Vak comes the Shakti, which has the four principles of creation. It's Shakti as Jnana or knowledge, Shakti as mind, Shakti as prana, and Shakti as Ananda, of spiritual bliss or the love preservation energy. Remember hearing Dr. George King in previous lectures referring to love as the fourth aspect of creative principle, I think. Next, we have the Mahabhutas, cosmic elements. You have etheric, subtler molds of vibration emotions with various levels of frequencies. Those levels are Akasa, etheric sound, Vayu, etheric air, Tijas, etheric fire, Apanas, etheric liquid, and Prithivi, etheric solids. And then these energies, these Mahabhutas, these cosmic elements, are propagated throughout each respective solar system in the galaxy via the solar logi, or galaxies down to solar systems and so on. And through, so for example, through our sun, these elemental energies are pushed out. More. The solar logos, you have the Pingala and Ida nadis, along with the releasing of the 5 major and minor pranas. The major pranas of the subtle bodies are prana, apana, samana, udana, and vyana. And we also have minor pranas of the gross physical body as krikara, naga, devadatta, dhanajaya, and kurma. And then there is the third Sushumna Nadi, in which we have the combination of the Ida and Pingala and a neutral flow of that energy. Right here, this goes into more information about the modifications of Shakti. This is a diagram that many of us have seen before, several times before actually, and this is actually one of them. This is one of the, this particular diagram and several others revolving around the subject of the modifications of Shakti is in the Google Drive shared folder. So you can download that one. Let's look at the 5 major pranas within the body. I think there's another section after this, but once we finish the 5 major pranas, I think we'll finish for today, and then we'll pick up next time with the last section. In the subtle human structure, there are 5 major pranas that have a distinct flow and pattern of operation. These pranas travel through the nadi system, which are 242,000 lines of force charged with positive and negative energies that are distributed throughout the subtle bodies, giving life and consciousness to all levels and parts of the subtle bodies and gross body. The following are brief directional flow and description of the major pranas and its operation. So you can see this illustration on the left-hand side. Again, you have the 5 pranas, and their flows are depicted as different shades or diagonal or vertical lines, but we'll go more into that right now. Udana, this 4th flow of prana is located at the throat level and travels through the head, arms, and legs. This 4th aspect of the major pranas is called Udana. It is the positive pranic flow that allows man to speak and manifest consciousness through intelligent movement of the head, arms, and legs. It governs the positive energy created to work the body machine called the physical body. All right, so you see here, Udana, throat, hands, arms, and legs. It flows throughout the extremities. Next, we have prana. This first aspect of prana, the vital life force of the body. This aspect of prana travels down from the head level to the solar plexus region and back up again. This is considered to be the forward breath or the inhalation. It brings in the fuel. So you see here, you have prana as the green number 1, and also the diagonal lines in the chest region of the diagram or illustration. Next, you have samana. This flow of prana is located in the solar plexus region. Samana is the dotted illustration in the solar plexus region, or number 3, which is the digestion and assimilation of gross energies. The samana prana has an equalizing quality to it. It converts fuel into energy. Prana and apana meet together near the navel, creating the conditions to produce or release the aspect of samana prana. It helps to regulate the interchange of these 2 forces at their meeting place, equalizes them, and is the most important agent in maintaining equilibrium of the vital forces and their functions. This is the balancing breath. Right. Next, we have Vyana. This prana is the 5th major aspect of prana. It flows throughout the whole body. It regulates both prana and the apana and keeps them in harmony. This is considered to be the power behind the continuous breath of man. It sustains prana when the main flow of prana is held in abeyance, as in actions requiring extreme effort. It is all-pervasive within the subtle bodies and gross body. It distributes these vital energies throughout the body. You can see Vyana illustration as it pervades the whole body, and it looks like that the white background, which is surrounding the entire illustrated body. Then we have apana. The second prana is apana, the aspect of prana that travels from the anus area, base of the spine chakra, to the solar plexus chakra. This apana prana is considered to be the out breath, exhalation. It functions below the chest, moving from the base chakra through the sex chakra up to the solar plexus chakra and back down to the base chakra area. And you'll see apana represented by the kind of triangular lines or number 2 in the illustration. How much time we have? We'll finish up. Dominating pranas within the major chakra system. Out of the Shakti principles came the Mahabhutas. These Shakti principles moved forward and created 5 distinct sound vibrations that wrap themselves in the Shakti power and is called the Mahabhutas. The Mahabhutas are subtle universal cosmic energies or Shakti power that expresses those infinite universal subtle elements, which are described as the following: Akasa, Vayu, Agni, Apas, and Prithivi. They are the subtle cosmic elements which are modes of vibrations within the cosmos. When man has purified the nadi pathways that carry the prana and apana energies, a balancing of these pranic forces is karmically allowed, and the combined force activates the Manipura chakra and accentuates the powers of this chakra, giving man the ability to operate on higher levels of consciousness. Okay. So think about that, and think about Mars Sector 6 statement and the 9 freedoms. Service is the jewel in the rock of attainment. Through service, we purify the nadi pathways, cleanse the aura, burn up negative samskaras, positively manipulate our karma, as well as the karma of the world as a whole, thereby allowing for the balancing of these pranic forces and the activation of the Manipura chakra, i.e., the activation of and raising of Kundalini. In the practice of pranayama, one of the main goals is to balance these 2 major pranas through the control of rhythmic breathing, which encompasses an even flow of inhalation and exhalation of breath in measured retention of breath with the incorporation of concentration and visualization. Contact your higher self through yoga and realize your inner potential. Those are 2 good texts giving practices that Dr. George King put together for the use of not just Western audiences, of everyone, to help their pranayama practices, but also include visualization, concentration, mudra, and so forth. The control of prana and apana helps to gain control over the other 3 major pranas, which are samana, udana, and vyana. Samana is a major prana that is mainly concentrated in the navel area. The udana major prana is concentrated in the throat area and travels through the head, arms, and legs. The vyana major prana is located in the sex chakra and travels throughout the entire body. So at the table on the left-hand side, starting from top to bottom, we have Sahasrara chakra, crown. and its Mahabhutas is Tattvas. Then we have the Ajna, or the Christ chakra. Its chakra color is violet, and its Mahabhutas is Manas. Then we have the Vishuddha chakra, or the throat chakra. Its chakra color is indigo or deep blue. Its akasa, its bhutas is akasa, ether, and its major prana is udana. In the Anahata chakra, the heart center, its chakra color is green. Its Mahabhutas is Vayu, or air. And its major prana is prana. And the Manipura chakra color is yellow. Its Mahabhuta is Agni, fire. Manipura being the solar plexus center. And its major prana is Samana. And the Svatisthana chakra, sex center. Its color is orange. Mahabhuta is Apas, water. And its major prana is Vayu. And then we have the Muladhara, or the base of the spine chakra. Its color is red. Its Mahabhutas is Prathivi. And its major prana is Apana. Nehemiah, for numbers 3 and 4, the major prana and the chakra colors are switched. Is that a mistake or is that intention?
What do you say?
For Anahata and Manipura chakra, the chakra colors and the major prana colors, they're switched. Is that a mistake or is that?
Where?
Number 4 and number 3. So the chakra color is Anahata is green, but the major prana it's yellow. And the Manipura chakra color is yellow, but the major prana is
that's a mistake.
That's a mistake. Okay.
We got to remember to correct that.
Okay.
Although in the Sivananda switches it for certain prana manipulations. When you go back to the original chart I gave you, remember?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we will analyze the prayer mudra technique. If you remember, I mentioned earlier when we were at the taking a brief look at different mudras. I mentioned the use, combination use of many of these mudras in prayer, radiating of spiritual energies and healing, and also in the prayer power and so forth. We do have a lecture series Nehemiah gave on specifically this prayer technique. I do invite you to go back and reference that lecture series material. For now, we're just going to briefly go over it. But in the actual workshop, we'll go more in depth into each slide, because this slide is really, this presentation was designed to help facilitate the actual workshop. So although I'm just reading through it now, the workshop won't be facilitated in the same way as someone's just reading from a PowerPoint. This is just to help guide the presenter and move the discussion along as we go deeper into each subject matter material covered in the workshops presentations. So as we look at the prayer mudra, or the mystic prayer mudra technique for pulling down and projecting prana, the shapes are drawn over it to help illustrate the science behind the prayer technique and what's happening. So let me zoom in so we can look at this better. So first we have the beam of energy coming down that is being pulled down by the prayer practitioner. And that is that white triangular cone energy come from the top down to the head, and this represents the subtle flow of energies being pulled on by the mental control of concentration, imagination, and visualization of the practitioner of the prayer. So you remember in the prayer technique, we're told to pull down from the Earth atmosphere, or from the unit, from the galaxy, a brilliant white light down from the top of our heads, all the way down to the heart center, and project that energy to fill up the heart center. And while we are performing the prayer technique, we are pushing out that white light from the heart center as well as the palm centers, which are the major chakras in the palms of the hand, where we project the impregnated energies with purpose and direction. The purpose we state at the beginning of the prayer practice. In fact, both Nehemiah and Dr. George King has taught us that before we start any practice, spiritual practice, we should state the purpose or intention for that practice. That makes a difference in actually having, for example, a potent and spiritually advancing mantra japa practice, or just sitting down chanting cat, dog, cat, dog, cat, dog. We should always state the intention of our practice before we start, or as we're starting that practice. A purpose for that practice. We go in with a purpose and a goal to achieve. Next, we'll go to the heart center, and that with that big sphere at the heart center. So this represents another major chakra. Look at the heart chakra, where we also project the impregnated energies with purpose and direction. The prayer practitioner imagines and visualizes a white light leaving this psychic center to the target or purpose that you are praying for. If you go back and examine the 12 blessings, you'll see that the target, purpose, and direction is integrated in each blessing. So we open up the practice stating our intention, be it global healing or the positivization of karma of the world as a whole. And then in each blessing, we give a direction or target. Blessed are those who work for peace. Blessed are the spiritual workers. Blessed are the planetary ones, and so on and so forth. Next, we'll look at the horizontal line. Below the raised arms indicate the point where the arms need to be in order to activate the heart chakra. This is a mudra that is used to activate the heart chakra in order to radiate the prayer energies effectively. So do take notice of that, and notice that the practitioner does not have the arms kind of lazily placed at their side. The arms are raised, and a 45-degree angle is made between the, I guess that's what's called, the main arm and the forearm. And the hands are practically aligned with the eyes. That's important. Zoom out. Imad, did you want to add anything there?
No, that's pretty good.
Now, you don't have to be standing. You can be seated in a straight back wooden chair, facing the east.
In the book that I put together, we go in real good detail, standing, right, sitting. So,
and the book he's referring to is a book on prayer, which will be published and released at a later, coming soon. So stay tuned for that. That'll be the second book released by, he has several others, but that'll be the second one released, the first one being The Ancient Language of the Soul, the book on, excuse me, a book on mantra. So you can go ahead and that book is available for purchase on our website or through Amazon. Let's see, we're on time. Okay, so this is the final slide. And this slide as well should be familiar to all of you, as we've gone over it several times, and is available in the shared drive folder. So you can find that page there. It's the page looking at the mudra yoga technique for mantra japa. And I won't read through everything because this diagram should be familiar to you. But the mystic knowledge of mantra, the chakra bija, is a mantra for the chakra that holds the signature power of the chakra and is the original samskara of the vortex center called the chakra. The petals, or bijas, are seed mantras that create sacred bits of sound that draws a series of subtle energies into the chakra and also pushes energies out of the chakra, helping to define this compaction of power as a vortex center. The nadis are a flow of mental, vital, and neutral subtle energies traveling through tiny lines of force projected from the Muladhara chakra, dormant Kundalini power. This creates a matrix of pathways that number over 200,000. These nadis pass through the 108 chakras within the auric body, establishing multiple levels of consciousness known as the supra, conscious mind, super, conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. Kundalini is that dormant power residing within the Muladhara chakra known as the 3.5 knot, a subtle energy configuration that blocks the passageway to the Sushumna Nadi, the primary flow of pure power along the spine, and releases a sound vibration that creates the Nadi system, a flow of subtle energies, and creates a matrix that holds consciousness. Okay. Japa is the practice of chanting mantra in a repetitious fashion. And quick quiz, what are the 3 methods of chanting mantra? Write your answers in the comments. Mahabhutas, the 5 great cosmic etheric elements of creation. Prana, which is one of the 4 principles of Shakti that represents all prana, power. Chakra, a vortex center of power that streams an array of power through multiple realms of consciousness throughout the universe, empowering the auric structure of all things in creation. And mantra, a series of sacred creative sound vibrations within nature. It's believed to be a creative sound used to bring the universe into manifestation. Also, sacred mantras should not be passed on to another person unless the mantra lives within you. Mantras are normally passed on to a student by a mantra guru, a yogi adept of Kundalini, or a yogi master of Kundalini, who has had the mantra live within them. And some of these yogi masters have arranged these creative sound vibrations through samadhi wisdom. All right, and that concludes our, I guess, preview, you could say, of the Mudra Yoga workshop, which will be held sometime in the near future. We'll also go into much more in depth about Mudra Yoga, as well as other topics when we start hosting workshops, as well as meeting again in person. Yes, that is correct, Lisa. Very good. She stated the 3 ways of chanting mantra, which is dynamic, out loud, subtle, whisper, and silent. That's correct. Right. Do we have any questions or comments before we close out today's session? If there are no questions, or did you have any closing comments? Anything you want to add, Nehemiah?
No, pretty good.
And let us close out today's session reciting the New Lord's Prayer. My screen share is paused so you can see it. Excuse me. Turn this a little better. Okay. The New Lord's Prayer O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive for their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your attendance, participation.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. And see you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Namaya.